Okay, I'm hoping this is gonna, oh, it already, one of them didn't work. One of them isn't working, I can see it. I'm gonna get so annoyed. I'm gonna get so mad. No way. I'm totally on. You guys, I'm so happy because one of them didn't, I could see one of the links didn't work, but it didn't matter. One of the links, like, it didn't matter. Because I actually was gonna, because I told you it's like this encoder thing that splits the feed and it goes out to multiple platforms. So anyway, that's what I was doing, and it didn't go out to one of them, but it's okay. We're going to live. We're going to survive. But if you want to chat, you guys, you have to come to YouTube. And then what I did is, if you're watching it on Facebook, which most people are, oddly enough, which is sad because it's monetized, so then I can actually make money. If you guys watch it on YouTube, you're like, we don't care. We're on Facebook, and that's where we want to be. Anyway, yeah, because, like, I get, like, you know, 1,500 views on Facebook, and then I get like 500, and then it looks like I don't have any views when people look on YouTube. You're like, who cares? You have like 1,500,000 views on, so it doesn't really matter. Yes, it does. It's my self-esteem at stake here, you guys. Please, that's why people have to show up and chat, or like I get my feelings hurt. Seriously, I'm like, today, you guys, I did my feed today. I did that thing for, because the knit along, I was on it. April 2nd, we start the knit along, the simple sweater, which I love how I have, and I did, like I said, have Pat Henley come on, right? Okay, so if you were there today, you know Pat came on, and I was 15 minutes early. Today I'm like a few minutes early because I wanted to make sure that I didn't make you guys wait, like if I had problems. But anyway, so, I don't even know why I was saying that. Oh yeah, the simple sweater. So then she actually said, your simple sweater isn't so simple. But no, but she said it's totally doable for me. So, but I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I really want to knit a completely unsimple sweater, because why would that be? Because then I don't know, I want something fitted this time. I either want it super boxy, but still shaped. So no matter what, you know, but the good news is, like, I'm not no color work. Like for me, because I like solid colored things, you're like, really, we wouldn't have guessed that, except for the fact where you either wear a black jacket or one of your 400 white jackets, or, but I am wearing, look, I'm wearing orange today. I was going to wear a black jacket, and then I was like, no, because then I'll just look like a pumpkin. And I'm wearing a different pair of glasses on accident, because I have like 4 or 5 pairs of, five pairs of glasses, and these ones are tortoiseshell and the other ones are black. You're like, we just don't give a shit. We don't care. Yes, just say you do. Pretend. That's what my husband does. He just pretends. Hi, everybody. Okay, let's see. Samantha and Michelle and Cynthia and Tracy and Kelly Sutton Kelly, and Susie Q and Jacqueline Allison Blair. And if we don't Facebook, can we? No. Of course you can participate. You guys, if you're not on Facebook, because a lot of people aren't, and I can't tell you, like, especially early on, like the first few years on Facebook, I get so irritated on Facebook. Like, there were a couple of times I almost hit the deactivate profile, which would have been really stupid, because right now I wouldn't have a home because I wouldn't have a business. So for me personally, but I have to tell you, I completely understand. If you aren't on Facebook, let me tell you, don't even worry about it. Of course you can participate, and then we'll just talk about it in here. Like, you can talk about it in chat. And, like, you know, I try to read your chat, despite the fact that I talk ad nauseum. But if there's something that's that like is a question, and this is what I tell people in my online classes, because they're live, typically, not always, but typically they are, is to put a Q, and then I know it's a question, uppercase Q. So anyhow, yes, of course, to absolutely participate. So if you're not on Facebook, so we just picked, on Facebook, there's actually a file folder, which, you guys, it's humorous because I couldn't figure out how to put my pattern in the file folder, so it ends up being outside of the file folder, but it's in files. So on the sidebar tab, it's in files. It's just not in the right place. Hopefully Kristen will, I'll have to remember to tell Kristen it's outside of where it should be. She'll probably notice, put it in there for me. But anyhow, so it's like you just pick any sweater that you want to do, and then we knit along, and we'll just, and I'm going to have, you know, I love, Pat was awesome today, by the way. So the YouTube is on this channel, Namaste Farms. So youtube.com/Namaste Farms. And she is really, you know, and I did Blog Talk for 2 years, every Thursday night, for which I was not late ever. So I am making up for that now, because I seem to be chronically late here, except for today and last week. but anyhow, so you know, you worry because I had on Blog Talk, I always would have a guest, right? I had a co-host and a guest, and actually the co-host, she was great. She was really, really good. And and that's so important, just to let you know, because you don't want to have a co-host that like steps on your words, because you can't see each other, and so the communication, there's a lot of nuances, and no one thinks about that, like how crucial it is to have a really great co-host. Like, she was probably the best co-host someone could ever want. She was awesome and really knowledgeable. She was a knitwear designer and a crochetwear designer. Anyhow, but you worry when you have guests on because you feel a little bad for them, because if they aren't used to being on something that's live often, I have to tell you, like, I am not kidding. I could never have done what I'm doing now if it weren't for the Blog Talk Radio and for having my own television show. So those things really made it so I don't have the fear like I did, because I would start hating life. I would start hating life like on Monday, knowing that on Thursday I was going to have to like do Blog Talk, and that light was going to go on, and I would have instant fear, and like I would just become flush, and it was really the anticipation of that red light. And for the first couple of, I want to say like 30 seconds, I would always trip my words up, and I really, it was very difficult. It's just that, it's that performance. I always say if I was a guy, I'd totally have erectile dysfunction, because like I have so much performance anxiety over, you know, I guess, well, not anymore, but it's different, like, because you know, after you do it for a while, then you figure out you just got to think on your feet, and you just got to, I think for me, I can't do anything though that is fake. Like if someone gave me a paper and said, you need to say these exact words, like I can't do it. I've actually tried. And during Sheer Madness, they used to want me to say, because they would want me to say certain things during the interview part, because it would prompt them for whatever clip or whatever portion they wanted to show. And I mean, that was misery for me. Because if it's not authentic and straight from my brain and my heart, it's like impossible for me to, I mean, I'm just not a person that would be able to do, teleprompters. Yeah, that would be, I'd be off teleprompter. I'd like start out maybe, okay, you know, and then I would go straight to stream of consciousness, just complete, and and the producers would be going crazy. That's really true. It's really true. They would. Anyway, oh yeah, it was about Pat. She just so like water off a duck's back. I mean, she had this one, and she teaches. I mean, she does teach, and people. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that maybe haven't heard of Pat Henley, but I'm telling you, like, she brought it home, baby. She brought it home, and all the advice, and even, you know, Trish, who's you know, a knitter. I mean, like a solid knitter, and so many people wrote me and were like, she's good. That are solid knitters. And so I think she's getting her master knitter certification. I can't remember what the reason she wanted to get it for, but it's like a breeze for her because she's already a master knitter. I mean, she was already a master knitter. So but you know, it's different when you're taking and you want the certification, and because then they, you know, and there is minutiae in those things that they always want you to do stuff that, you know, but I mean, and this is what Jan Massey, who's so incredibly knowledgeable, always says. She goes, if I can go and learn, as knowledgeable as she is, if she can go to somewhere and learn one thing, then she's got her money's worth, because she knows it's difficult to learn from people because she knows a lot. So, I mean, she's got a lot of tricks, let me tell you. Anyhow, so I'm sure even if you're a seasoned knitter, there is something that you can learn from that YouTube that we did today. And you're like, could you give us the URL? Just go to the channel. I don't have it handy, but go to the channel, the Namaste Farms channel on YouTube, and you will see it. And she's just awesome. And she also does tutoring, and she'll spend like, if you need her to tutor you on something, she will spend as much time as you need to get it. Like, she will not stop if you don't get it. And she's awesome, and she doesn't talk down to you, and she's not wordy, and you're like, really, like you? Yeah, she's not wordy like me. She's really, really good. Anyway, moving on. Okay, let's see. Should we post our progress in Facebook group to see what everyone is making? Of course. That was you trying to hint me. Hint me? You were hinting me. Yes, let's do that. Let's everybody post on Tuesdays. Don't laugh, you guys. If I'm on cast on for like, you guys, damn, it could happen because it's lambing. You're like, don't already set yourself up for fail. I had to finish that word, fail. Wait, let me see. That's a great, every Tuesday I think we should post. We should do a post. I'm trying to think how that works. So do we have like one, like we do a thread and then everybody, when they comment, they put their pictures? Because you can put your pictures in the comments, right? Yeah, I think we should do that. And if I'm wrong on that, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. We'll figure out a good way to do it. I think that's a really good way. I'd love to do that. I really would. Okay, my problem isn't the knitting part. My problem is having to ball all of the yarn that I dyed. I'm not lying. It's not pleasant. I like to hand ball everything naturally, since I'm a sex addict, but you guys are like, okay, that is just non sequitur. But you're like, stop throwing Latin in there. It takes so long, and you're like, well, that's what children are for. That actually, I had my kids do that once. I'm not kidding. This is the truth. I had my kids ball some yarn for me, and first of all, I didn't realize you have to tell people, don't put the death pull on it. Don't put the death pull. So I would ball, the balls that I had made were like this big around. The balls that they made were like this big around. Because they're just putting the death pull, right? And ruining all the elasticity in your yarn. Yeah, that was bad. Anyhow, and they only got like, I was gone, I can't even remember. It was a ridiculous amount of time, like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I think there was only like 1.5 done. Yeah, I know. Annoying. Okay, Phineas Pratt, hello, Phineas Pratt and Christine. Okay, Natalie, when is Pat coming for the Agawa? Okay, so today we hit on some of that stuff. Okay, good. Why are you knitting that? You're already the one. I'm telling you, it's the way that there is a better way to do your increases, your left leaning and right leaning increases, and there's a better way to do the short rows, because the short rows are taking from the stitches underneath. So it ends up pulling those the little holes that are going to be on the raglan, those little like decorative whatever raised decorative stitches. It makes it like, so it doesn't look, it looks like you've made mistakes. Okay, so then Trisha was like, well, 400 people, Natalie, because this is today, after she'd already heard what I was saying about me ripping out the Igawa as many times as I did, and she heard it loud and clear. And then I was talking about it today with Pat, and so she understood better what I was saying, because she wasn't understanding why 400 people could have knit the sweater probably the way that the pattern designer designed it, and why it looked fine. And I said, because you're not right up on the stitches. See, a picture that, okay, there's a reason why models in real life aren't very attractive, and in pictures they look great. And anybody who's ever taken a picture of anything understands there's something called lighting and perspective, right? So, and I'm just saying the distance when you're looking, and I can't remember what size needle, was that a size, I think I had to use a 4. And I think the recommendation of her was a 6. I mean, that's, small enough that you certainly in a picture, unless it's like close up, can't see. It's just, you basically see, you're just, it's pretty much at a distance, right, to see the entire sweater. So you can't see what we're seeing when we're knitting it. You can really see how those, they don't look, there looks like there's quite a few mistakes in there. And they actually aren't mistakes. So I'll have to ask her. I will have to ask her. I didn't pay her for anything today. She did it, she's been very nice. And I don't want to take advantage of her, but I really would love to do the Igawa. I really would love to do it. The Igawa, though, I mean, it is I think once you get, once the way that the short rows, the way that she says to do the short rows, and the way that Junko Okamoto, you guys, for anybody who wants to know, I'm talking about the Junko Okamoto Igawa, Igawa sweater. And for people who are like, yeah, we already got it, Natalie. We've had to hear about this sweater how many times? But anyway, and it's super simple, and she calls it a simple pattern. And even by Pat's standards, it's actually not really a simple pattern. Although I thought the one in my mind, I read through the whole pattern of the one that I want to do now, this next one that I was going to do, and as if I finished the guy. And it, to me, it looks, because there's nothing in there that looks remotely like, it all looks peasy peasy. So, like, I think that would be easy peasy. Anyway, but yes, I want to get her to do that, because the Agawa, I want that to be one of, because it's something I would totally, how California are you? Very, that I would completely wear, or I would frequently wear. You're like completely, as in, like, as opposed to half on, half off. Well, I do that too. Okay. Darlene, thank you, Darlene. I was actually going to remember your name this time, but you preempted. Okie dokie. Now I'm reading. Okay, so Pat has convinced me to make a swatch. Allison said Pat has convinced me to make a swatch. You know what? It actually is totally worth it. So Shannon says she learned lots today, and we could make a hashtag for it on Instagram as well for those of us without Facebook. Yes, Jacqueline, I did that in my class, actually, this last class, because there was a gal that is really, she's awesome, and she did not want to be on Facebook, and she wanted me to, like, look at her stuff on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram as much as I should be. And it's really, it's really is hard, these social networking platforms. I mean, I'm not even on right now. I'm not on anything. My friend, so Roger goes, call me when you get a chance. And it's one of these things, I'm not kidding. And let me tell you, there is not a time I don't want to talk to Roger. I always want to talk to Roger. So, but I want to talk to him when he has my full attention. I don't want to talk to him while I'm outside feeding and you hear the roosters crowing and the sheep, making vocalizations. And I don't want to talk to him like when I'm in the car with my kids. I don't want to talk to, well, if that never happens. But anyway, I don't want to, there's just times that I want complete undivided attention when I'm talking to him. And anyway, so it was like 5 days later. 5 days later. 5. Yeah, I know. I felt really bad because if I've needed him several times, like on emergency situations, like I really need something right now, and he's like he'll either pick up the phone right away or he'll call me right back. You're like, that just means he's not busy. No, actually, he's really busy. There's some other things that I love about Roger, by the way, and one of them is he's the kind of guy, he doesn't care who's mad at him and who doesn't like him. He doesn't care. Like, literally, you're like, that's called narcissism. Yes, we know, but like, I'm serious, and I admire, I admire it in so many ways because I think life may not be easy to have a relationship, like an intimate relationship with somebody that is that way. However, life is very difficult for people who give a shit, like me. Like, I actually care, so I get my feelings hurt. Even though I'm like really kind of a hard-nosed person, I still, it's funny because, that thing they call it, what is it called? What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? I'm sort of this person, it's like, I double standard. Like, I may be deadpan and maybe brutally blunt, but when someone's brutally blunt and deadpan with me, actually I handle it pretty well. I actually do. Because I'm thinking I have a lot of friends that are like that. And I do handle it well. When I don't handle it well is I don't handle it well when it's out of character for someone. Like, so let's say that they're usually really, really, they're just not the type of person that would ever be direct and like blunt and brutally honest, and all of a sudden they just deadpan and hit you right between the eyes. Then it would bother me. That would hurt my feelings. But I'm pretty sensitive, actually. You're like, don't lie. Don't try and tell us you're not a narcissist. I'm not kidding you. It's never one of the things I've ever been accused of. Well, except, by, I'm sure, people that hate me. Let's see. Oh, Phineas Pratt just bought a ball winder and a Swift. It's well worth the money. Yeah, question. Wait, Jacqueline. Okay, okay. So, for those of us without Facebook, we can't see the file folder with those patterns. Can we knit whatever sweater we want? Of course you can. The whole idea is that. And so you want to see, so you guys, it would be really great because I think most everybody does Instagram, so I think we all should put our progress. That would be really nice for people that don't want to be on Facebook. And to be honest with you, more people, from what I can see, more people watching this on Facebook. You're like, that's the 1,500 of your family members. No, I don't have that many family members, and they wouldn't watch it anyway, but thankfully, because that would be called stalking. But I think that, not everybody is, there's a lot of people on Facebook, but not everybody is on Facebook. So if 1,500 people or so are watching it per week on Facebook, and 300 to 550 are watching it on YouTube within that frame of time, then you have to know that those people that are on YouTube aren't on Facebook. So they would like to see. So we'll create a hashtag. Okay, so I think that's what she's getting at, right, Jacqueline? Are you getting at, let's create a hashtag right now? Let's see. Let's create a hashtag. Did you put one on? Yes, we could make a hashtag. So could it be, because it has to have something like in it, like, could we do, you're like, could you just come up with something? Can we just do Reading, hashtag Reading method, sweater cal or RM? We have to pick one. I just don't like writing all that. Like, it'll come up once someone's done it, you know? How about, let me think. Let's do Reading method sweater knit along. Or could it be, or should it be knit along too? What should it be? You guys help me. You guys are like, wow, are you insecure? Can you make a decision? Well, I just don't know. See, it's on Reading Method group. That's why, and it's good for me to have it on Reading Method. I mean, it is good. So, because you want people to be, you want to create a community, and you want people to, you know, to have someplace to go and to, you know, be able to see people's work and things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I really, fiber arts, I really want to promote fiber arts in agriculture. Agriculture is so heavily, you know, fiber arts is so heavily tied into agriculture, because without agriculture, you don't really have any fiber, plant or animal being. Okay, so let's see. Okay, no one's saying anything. I don't, and So Girl Quilting doesn't do it either. RM Sweater Cal, Phineas Pratt, I love you. Bam. Thank you. We're doing hashtag RM Sweater Cal. So RM, the word sweater, and KAL with a hashtag before it. Let's do that. I'm going to write it down because you guys know I'm going to forget, right? I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it down right now. I'm going to write it down. What I'll do is I'll write it on this, and then I'll use this for my nose and throw it away. So let me write, I'm going to write it, you know what I'm going to write it on? I'm going to write it on one of my postcards. I had a bunch of these made to give away. For when I did, Ply-Away. Let's see, Reading Method, hashtag Reading Method, RM. You're like, stop saying Reading Method. Hashtag RM Sweater KAL. Diana, I put your stuff sent, by the way, in the box too, the giveaway from last week. You're like, finally, she sent it. My handwriting's so bad, who's going to be able to read that? I'm going to have to then come on next week and say, you guys, what was it again? Because my handwriting... Stop making fun of me. You guys are cool. I know I showed you these before, but Sean thought it was stupid that I would have these made of a pretend sheep. He's like, Natalie, how many sheep do you have? I'm like, it's vintage. It's like from the 50s. It's so cute. It's so cute, baby. You guys, my handwriting, I saw that. It's so bad. Okay, and then I want to show you. Okay, I already showed you that one. Let me see, there was another one. Oh, this one I love. Because it's Lanark Scottish Blackface. And it really shouldn't die this way because it's primitive. Is that something? I mean, it's something. It's like gorilla fur. Oh, I'm going to show you it. I'm going to show you it raw. It's insane. Not Scottish Blackface. Not all Scottish Blackface is like this. This is regionality. This is from Northern Ireland. So, oh my God, you guys. Okay, I can't hit my cord on my computer. So this isn't actually gray, by the way. This is, you're like, really? Because it looks gray to me. It is gray in color, but the reason it's gray is because they burn. They burn the bramble. So they burn, and then the sheep was near the burn pile. You guys, it's so incredibly cool. And it dyes amazing. So here's a primitive. So this is from Northern Ireland, as I said, and I'm going to show you a primitive that's a different primitive that's unrelated, but I'm going to show you its fleece. It's from Hungary. And so why does it, because my whole life is about wool, and I broker fleeces. I go, you know, and I broker fleeces because I want people, I told you, wool is my life. Sex and wool and alcohol and flamin' Hot Cheetos and milk duds are my life. I haven't been able to eat hot tamales lately, you guys, because my tooth, remember I have that thing. So see, this one is similar, but different. So this is Raka, and they have the insane horns, R-A-C-K-A, look it up. I bought 21 21 straws of semen of Raka, and I got some Black Welsh Mountain sheep, the only true black sheep, by the way, the only completely black sheep that stays black. Because Warbles is the dominant black, and it stays black, except that it has white. socks and a white star. But anyway, so the only completely solid true black sheep is Black Welsh Mountain. It doesn't fade. Because it was a good cross because they have horns. Anyway, I thought it was a good cross. It doesn't matter. And then they couldn't get any more semen. So if you have 21 straws and you only have like a 30% take, and then they aren't finding semen, there's no way, you know, you're just going to have, you're never going to be able to get to, you know, in theory, 100%. So upgrading would be really hard. Anyhow, okay, let's see. Actually, I just read Miss Dolly's because she's like going for the gusto. She's like, Miss Dolly suggests hashtag Reading Method Cal quotations the sweater. That is really good, but we're because I had seen, and we're going to go with RM Sweater Cal. And that, you know why? So we don't have to, not because the other ones aren't good, but because it's short. And people like me are on their phone doing it and have fat giant fingers that are always hitting the wrong keys. So I always go for, guys, and then imagine I wouldn't even be able to write it on my card. I already ran out of space. Oh, I should tell everybody. Yarnitarian. All things life. Knitting, yarn, and fiber while high on flamin' Hot Cheetos and cheap American beer. I think it's $17.99. $17.99 for it. Is it a 24 pack? Or I think it's a 24 pack. Is it a 12 pack? I can't remember. But you have to buy 2 of them, which I'm always okay with, right? Because I'm like, that should be gone in a day and a half. Which reminds me, I needed to take a drink. Okay, let's see. Okie dokie. So does that wash out? Yeah, Shannon, does that wash out? It should wash out. In other words, I don't know, but yes, I don't know. Yes. I don't know. Yes, it will. It'll wash out. Why do I know it will wash out? Because nobody would have bonfires if it didn't wash out of your clothes. I don't know. It's going to wash out. Because it's not dye. It's what it's going to strike to. Yeah, it's not. It's just, it's very light. Usually it's creamy white. Like creamier, like a little bit, it's lighter than the Racka. So the Racka, if you guys look it up, R-A-C-K-A, their horns are spiral. They look like antelope horns. They're very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, moving on. And then Liz Rose just said, I looked up Racka, amazing. Peanut M&Ms yet. Okay, yes, I am on those. I am on those. Let's see. Okay. I'm glad you guys like that. I like to show you my stuff. I'm going to show you something else today. Amber Holtrust did one, or your easy too. RM knitting. No, we're definitely doing, because I already said it, RM Sweater Cal. RM Sweater Cal. You guys are like, but you know, as I say it, I am showing you something today, though. I'm going to show you something that's related to knitting. And I'm going to teach you something. I'm not just going to show it to you, because that was showing you something. I'm going to like teach you something that I am plagiarizing, and I'm admittedly plagiarizing, because I would never plagiarize, and I would never plagiarize, and it wouldn't be plagiarizing. I would never plagiarize. I would always give credit to the person where I got the idea, which is why a lot of time I say, and I got this from such and such, and I got this, because it's just, especially in academics, you know, that's such a taboo thing. And I think I've talked about this before. When they do, they do discoveries in a research lab, even let's say someone was sweeping in that room, they are actually on the paper. Like literally, like it's that kind of thing. It doesn't matter how low level the person was in the research lab, they are part of that paper. Now, yeah, so you have to always credit your sources. My studio looks so good compared to what it did. You guys, okay, I ate shit so bad. I mean, hard. Like there was one spot on this floor, which is plywood, by the way, like this big around, where there was no fleece or like, you know, cushioning from literally fleece in these bags. And I came in here and I needed to get something really quick. And I mean, I ate shit so bad. And my knees, my knees could have hit anywhere else. But no, they had to hit in this area. And it's still like, I have bruises on my knees. Because it like, my one foot got hung up in a bag, and I went to catch myself with the other foot, and it got hung up in a bag, right? So both feet were gone, and it was both my knees. Just, yeah, it was great. But now, like, I have, like, not a lot of room, but I'm going to say a 3 foot by, like, I don't know. It's like 3 foot out this way and then around. Okay, but moving on, because I want to tell you. So, like, lots of interesting things. Was talking about a little bit about it today, but because my whole thing about is, one of the things about being a 4-H leader, etc., I think we need to teach children about agriculture and how important it is, right? And not as a method to make them compassionate, because I still tell you that I think that that's kind of a sketchy argument, saying, if you give them animals to love and care for when they're young, they'll learn to be compassionate. I don't really think it works that way. I think that I honestly do. It's the nature versus nurture, right? I think that if Jeffrey Dahmer only had a hamster to love and adore, he wouldn't have eaten people. I don't think that that's the way it works. But I think that we have to educate, instead of, because there's so much disinformation about, how bad agriculture is in general, but not as looking at agriculture, but the things that agriculture produces. When you look at things and you're saying that, like, whether it's GMO, or I don't care whether it's wool is bad, and, raising animals is bad, and, everything is factory farmed, and everything, keeping animals, they should have wide open spaces, so that they can gallop and gallivant, and, everything has to be, not vaccinated. I mean, it just gets, like, as if all we're doing is hurting them, right? So, once you bring them in and they see the necessity for certain things, like whether it's, medications or vaccinations or whatever it is, right? They start to understand, they see why we do some of the things that maybe, that at face value seem really detrimental and like cruel, but they're actually not, right? And anyway, but I had an Airbnb stay here, and she wanted to bring her 2 kids, and I was talking about this today, and she one of them, her son was like 12 and her daughter was 8. And so I said, well, I mean, obviously she booked, and I was like, that's great. I love to have kids, because I love to, have kids see the animals, and there's things that will stick with them for the rest of their life. Really, you can imprint a child at this age, and it could be something where they want to be a veterinarian now. I mean, I recognize that. So then at the last minute, like, she called my husband, because our number's on there, and said, my son's not coming, but I don't want the $30 extra person back. Don't worry, she can just shear for us or something. And I'm like, wow, that's really nice of her to volunteer for me to shear for her. No, like instantly, because I have oppositional divide disorder. Like, the second someone's like feels entitled to something, I'm like, let's just rip that carpet right out from underneath them, because I will not buy into entitlement. I just won't. So, anyhow, so, and then he says, and by the way, she's bringing like 4 of her daughter's friends that are like 8. I was like, yeah, that's great. I mean, it is. I had no problem. I was like, that sounds fantastic. But of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, there's the $30 that you just, that's what your $30 is going towards, right? So I'm out there working, slaving, right? And it's blistering hot. It's blistering. And I'm on top of the haystack, and I'm like trying to pull back this giant, 40 foot by 20 tarp. I mean, I'm really pulling back off of the like triple stacked hay, right? So I'm way up there, and the girls skip over in their little sundresses. What you doing? Like, that's the first thing out of their mouth. Can we help? All I want to do is work. Like, I just have my, when you put your head down and you're just working, that's all I want to do is work. Because, like, this is not an experience. This is like they're paying for a cottage. They're not paying for me to be their babysitter and their tour guide, and they're like, I'm working right now. Like, I'm more than happy, but this is not the time. And then my husband, he can see, like, steam starts to come out of my ears. And I mean, I barely like my children out there. I mean, I'm serious, right? So, it's when I'm working, nobody asks me questions. They don't. Like, on my family, they know. She's working. Like, my head is down and I am working, right? So, and I'm thinking about all the things that I can't forget that I have to do. All the things I can't forget that I have to do. Because there's a lot of stuff, especially like there's babies that need to be fed, there's babies that need to be medicated, there's babies that had, I have to remember when they had their last, whether they had their last, their 2-day penicillin today or was it yesterday. I just have to keep every track of all these things in my head, right? And so I get down off the haystack, and then I'm pulling this cart, and it has 4 70-pound bales of hay in it, and I'm pulling it, right? And the tires are half flat. And it's really hard, and I have to bend down to pull it, because if I stand up tall, the hay will fall out of the back. So I have to, and I'm going to go about 3 acres long. I'm going to be hauling it 3 acres long. So they start running next to me. We want to help feed. We want to help feed. I'm like, oh my God. Just to let you know, That, because they can't, when they feed, they have to throw it over, some of it over, and you can't hit the fleeces. If you hit the fleeces, that animal just grew that for the last 6 to 12 months, and you've just ruined it. Because getting alfalfa hay out, never. Right? I mean, like, this is something, like, it seems like it just is, well, just let them feed with you. No, I want you to think of one job where if somebody brought their kids, they're just like, hey, it would, you don't mind if they just follow around and help you, right? Right there. I can't think, I was even thinking, well, maybe a teacher. And I was like, well, no, because the teacher has to teach them what to do. And then so you're actually working more, like it's more work. Like seriously, I was getting so, you guys, I was getting so irritated. I was really getting pissed off because I just want to do my work. Like that's really all. And part of it is my beer buzzers going off in my head because it's hotter than, I've been working out there all day. It's hotter than shit. It's like 5 o'clock at night. My medicine's worn off and my beer buzzer's going off in my head. And all I want to do is get done, do all these things I have to do. And I couldn't believe like I mean, I have 5 kids, right? So it's not like I don't have kids and I'm just one of those assholes, right? I'm just an asshole with 5 kids, right? But it's that I'm like, actually understand this is my job and this is how I make my living. And like, I just would never let my children, when someone's working, I just would never, I would have consideration that we're here, we paid for this service called a bed. And that service is like something that's way more valuable than the bed. Right? I just wouldn't assume that somebody would, I just would never. So, anyhow, so I did let them feed a few flakes of hay with me, but then I had to stand there with them and go, okay, I have to throw one really far, and then I would be like, okay, no, drop it over, okay, right, just right, okay, wait, and watch out for, it was like that. So like, you just tacked on, and I'm not lying, 20 minutes to that, just one section of animals, and the rest of them get fed, they're fed, in the 70-pound bales. This is how I feed them. I just take these 70-pound bales and I throw them in there. Well, not throw them. I ka-thunk them in there. And so like each pen gets like 3 of them. And so they have this strapping on them. This strapping, like just exactly what it is, strapping, not polypropylene twine like baling twine, but this thick strapping that's really tight because they're double compressed. And so there's these strapping that looks like hula hoops. And I'm like, okay, you guys, you can do me this favor. You can go and pick up all the hula hoops because they can't obviously pick up the bales. So they went around and pick up all the hula hoops for me because I pick them up every day because there's like 3 in every pen, right? Well, actually, there would be 6 in every pen because each one has 2. So, and that's the one. And then, you know, then I let them bottle feed the babies. And this is so I let some 4-H kids bottle feed my babies one time in front of me, but they kept letting air in it. You know how you don't hold the bottle like this, you hold it like this and the air gets in, and one bloated like 20 minutes later was dead. So I was like, okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let you bottle feed these lambs because the lambs are following us around because they're free ranging on, they're not in a pen except at night. And so I said, but I'm going to tell you, you cannot let any air in that bottle because you're going to kill them. And I'm telling you that you will kill them and they will die. And the mother's faces, the word kill, like literally, like they looked at me like, we don't use that type of language here. And my facial reply was, they will kill them. And then out of my mouth, I said that. They will kill them. Like, this is serious. I said, every time I make a mistake on this farm, something dies. Every time anybody else makes a mistake on a farm, something dies. And that is the reality of farming right there. And so then, you know, and I actually was doing a pretty good job for me, you know, it really, because most of the time I'm just going to be, if it was in the morning and I was fresh as a daisy, medicine, you know, was kicked in and it wasn't, you know, blistering hot and wasn't at the end of my day, I probably wouldn't have minded and I probably would have, you know, I probably would have been okay with it. Let's go with 50-50 on that one, right? But I actually was so nice that then the lady's like, hey, would it be okay if they volunteered here? You guys, once again, I go back to, think of anybody in any job. Any job. If somebody just like has 4 8-year-olds volunteer. I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that would not be more work for the person than having the help. In other words, you want a free babysitter. Like the gall of people, you guys, it still shocks me. I actually just said no. I said no, it actually wouldn't be. I said it's dangerous. Yeah, and the liability on top of it. You guys are like, wow, you're mean. I mean, I'm not being mean. I'm just being realistic. I mean, I obviously like children. I hadn't many of them, right? But I think it's more the parents that bugs me, because it just bugs me. Would somebody please validate me? You're like, no. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, Miss Dahlia QQQ, she says a question. What was that on Instagram that we were not aware of, We're going to post our progress of our work every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, Miss Dahlia. And then, and then they will not be aware of what, actually, she's right. You actually are right on that. She actually is right on that, except I can't change it now, can I? That you are very right on that, because what Miss Dahlia is saying is that if I want to bring people into Reading Method, that they wouldn't know what it is. At Reading Method, could you guys put at Reading Method? Could you do that? Or at Namaste Farms? Let's do that. Let's put it at Reading Method. You guys are like, so now basically what we're doing is extra work. So if you do the hashtag RM sweater KAL and then you put at Reading Method, then they will all go, won't it? Or hashtag Reading Method also. So you could just do both. You're like, wow, Natalie. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm not very bright sometimes. I'm just not. I'm not. Sutton Kelly is saying, so pretty much you were babysitting, you're not getting paid for it. Thank you. I see, that was just the validation that I needed. I actually did need that, because I was starting to feel like I'm really a dick. And then she says also that she thinks that growing up with animals makes you much more of a compassionate human. I just assumed Kelly was a girl, though. I should not assume that. I should not assume that. We always learn when we listen. Don't be so hard on yourself. Okay, let's see. And then, Darlene saying, you are so right. We deal with this every day at work. Everyone thinks that we are babysitters instead of dog and cat groomers. I actually am smart enough to know the difference between a dog and cat groomer and a babysitter of humans. But you have to babysit those dogs. But maybe it would be like, the equivalent would be like, can they come and, I mean, it would be okay if they just came and watched the dogs, right? I mean, you wouldn't mind volunteers, right? Like, or they could sweep up. Okay, so there's like a minute and a half. So what do I do with the rest of the 8 hours? Right? Okay, so for a minute and a half, I don't really have to teach him anything. But you would be like, okay, you just missed a bunch. And then you'd have to redo it. I'm telling you, I know. And then, because the kids are smarter than the mom, right? And Christine said, I'm lost. Where do I get up to speed? Christine Haddock, I love you. Okay, Christine, I was just talking about, just to let you know. So first of all, we were talking about the sweater knit along. That what we're going to do. So this is all we went over so far. You're like, so we went over the sweater knit along. We're going to, every Tuesday, we're going to post on Instagram and on Reading Method group our progress. And on Instagram, our hashtags are going to be hashtag RM sweater KAL and then hashtag Reading Method. So that Reading Method people will see it, that want to see the hashtag, they want to look up the hashtag, and then all the people that don't want to Facebook, because a lot of people don't want to Facebook. And then on Reading Method, of course, so it's facebook.com/groups/Reading Method. People are going to post on Tuesdays their progress. The next thing we talked about was the Airbnb, some people that stayed that she had brought one kid, and that it ended up that it was one of these things where all of a sudden I became like the tour guide, and she brought 4 friends that were 8, all of them like 8 years old, and then everybody wanted to help me, and the mothers are sitting there, I don't know what, like smoking clove cigarettes, I don't know, they weren't, but they were that like, they were like having coffees on their own, doing their thing while their children are like chasing after me going, let me help, we want to help, what are you doing? That kind of the entire time. And I was just commenting on that I can't imagine even, I was trying to think of one profession where like it would be okay, first of all, like for you to just let your kids just go, like you go into the grocery store and you feel like having a coffee. You're at Starbucks and you're like, okay, kids, just go and follow the barista. Like, she'd be happy to show you what she does and teach you and let you work the milk foamer. I mean, I seriously, and then afterwards, because I actually pulled it off fairly well, which I need to, because first of all, I want children to love agriculture, but I also, I want people to want to come here, and I don't want to be rude, but I wanted to be rude because I was late and my medicine wore off and I wanted to have beer with my husband. That's what I wanted to do, right? And I'm working, right? And then they wanted to know if I would let them volunteer here, to which I said no. I would not let them. That's it. Okay. And then Amber says, you're not mean. It's a business. They're just ignorant. Yeah. It's like, and other than that, there was no, okay. And then the other thing, you guys are like, the people that were there today are like, do we have to hear the barbecue story again? No. So the barbecue story is only because you guys, I'm still stuck on the barbecue story because I went to pick up this barbecue at, from Craigslist, and it was really, really nice. And it's like barely used. It's a Gen Air. It's like $1,100 or $1,200 grill. Propane, it was natural gas grill actually, and I needed propane, which I'll tell you more about that. Don't let me forget. I should write myself a note. Don't forget about propane. Okay, I did. An air note. Those always work great. Way better. Air notes work way better than writing it on a paper towel, to which I will blow my nose on. Anyhow, so and it was in Hemet, and Christine Haddock lives around here, so she knows. Hemet is like, it's like, it has more crematoriums, mortuaries, than Starbucks. There's like one on, it's a place, it became like an old person's community, and it's either meth or you're aged. I'm not kidding you. They're trying to clean it up. It's looking, and I think part of it is, they're trying to beautify it a little bit. There's a big Scientology thing there too, but it's like a compound off to the side, but is in heaven. I think it's because the property prices were probably pretty low at the time for Southern California. But anyway, so I jokingly said to my husband, oh, I bet you somebody died, because we all know, everybody around here knows Hemet, what Hemet's like. So anyway, so we go there, and so the lady, I look at the lady, her husband's just had a heart attack, and she's going to have back surgery, and they can't help us move the grill, which is like 500 pounds, like really heavy grill up into my jewelry, right? Which is, I knew, that's why I brought my husband, but my husband weighs like 135 pounds. And this woman, I said to her, I said, wow, it's hardly been used. And she said, well, it was my mother-in-law's. She just died. And so I looked at my husband because, of course, I had said that. And then she goes on to say, she says, actually, and she goes, but, it's okay. I mean, at least she died happy. She died playing the slot machines at Saboba Casino. Like this. She was on the slot machine like this with her head, like, leaned against, like, and so can you imagine being the cocktail waitress? Ma'am? Ma'am? No. Yeah. She died. There, like literally. And then can you imagine like the big, like the first thing that went into my mind was the cocktail waitress. Like, of course, cocktails, that's the first thing I think of. And then it was, can you imagine the fear of people when the ambulance, the people were rushing in because you want to get the dead body out, right? Seriously, I don't really think, I mean, I don't know. You don't want to wait because there is no closing. It's like, okay, everybody, let's just pretend like it's normal and let's wait until everybody leaves and then let's get her. It's like there is no when everybody leaves because it's a casino. There's no like hiding the fact that some lady has died at the slot machine. Anyway, so then my husband and I, he's on one side, I'm on the other, and the guy's on the back, and the whole time she's going, oh, honey, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't, to her husband, who is like 6'4", I might add. But he's just kind of trying to, I don't know, do what, because my husband and I had to do it. And it was actually the way that it lifted not that hard, really. I mean, once we got the lip on it, then it was pretty easy. We just both, I mean, it was like that act, it was an act of God, really. But we were able to get it in there. And then she looks at me and my husband and says, and they were like in their mid-60s. And, but really pretty frail. And she says, oh, you guys are so strong. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we're about the same age, aren't we? And I literally was like, I looked at my husband like, is that possible? There was like silence. There was silence. I looked at her and I was like, yeah. I'm guessing I'm 56. And she's like, oh yeah, we're in our mid-60s. I literally was just like, okay, so anything that any Botox I've ever had, anything, and in my mind, I'm just like, you could have at least just said like, I don't know, 58, because I'm going to be, when I'm in my 60s, go ahead and say I look like I'm in my 60s, but do you have to like just full on to my face, or say it when I left. You know, gosh, when I found out she was 56, I really thought she was like our age. But don't say it to my face. Yeah. I looked at my husband and I was like, wow. So then I was telling Trisha the story. I was telling Trisha the story today. So Trisha goes, well, I just have to tell you, Natalie, you don't look like you're in your mid-60s. But your husband, well, if you really want me to tell you the truth, and I have to be honest with you, my husband, because he's really skinny, but when he was fatter, and I actually kind of like him a little portly. I like him skinny and I like him portly. It really doesn't matter to me. You know, when you lose weight, your face, you get wrinkles. You look drawn. And he has aged a lot. And well, the last year was tough for us. So and he has aged a lot in the last year. All I see is beauty. But, you know, but he definitely, she actually, and even before she said that today, I want to say it was like about 6 months ago, we were on FaceTime or whatever. And he walks by and she goes, oh my God, is that Sean? Because she does know him. And I said, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, he looks really gaunt and frail and old. And I was like, I'll tell him you said that. She's like, please don't. Sorry, I just did. Because he listens to make sure everything's going well. You're like, it's never going well, Natalie. You're never saying anything interesting. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, you're going to go be a good mom, Ms. Shelley? Good job. Okay, okay, let's see. You guys, you're not saying anything. That was my story. No, you don't have to say anything like you don't look like it. I don't even care because I'm going to be old. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, I mean, it's just the way it is, you know, but you just know, and then, Trisha was saying, you know, that she can't guess people's ages, but I got to be honest with you. I don't want people to ever say, guess my age. When people say that, I say, I'm not playing. I am not playing because this is a no-win situation. Because obviously, if someone says, guess my age, what person is going to actually say, if they look older than you think they are, what person is actually, it's asking people to be purposefully fraudulent and lie. I don't want to play the game. Oh no, please do it. And I say, I just really don't want to play. I don't, because I have no idea. I say I'm blind. That's what I say, I'm blind, and I can't. Which brought me to, I kept thinking there was this hair here, and I was like, what is wrong? And they're all broken capillaries in my face. When I got up really close in one of those mirrors with my glasses on, like the 10 times mirror, and with my glasses on, and it's all these broken, and they look like hair. You're like, it probably is hair. Anyway, okay, so I want to make sure no one has anything to say. Then I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you. Okay. Okay, here. This one I'm going to show you, and you probably think, why are you showing us this? I'm going to show you how I make a sheep cake. Do you guys want to see? I know. It's thrilling. It's riveting television, right? It's riveting video. Okay, so let me move. Let's see. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this here. I have to pan in so you can see. That's what Sean told me. Because every time I make these sheep cakes, people love them because they're super cute. Okay. And then you're going to be like, what does this have to do with knitting? And then I'm going to show you. Do you hear the lambs? That means they're hungry. Okay. Okay, let's see. All right. I don't do that near as good as Sean. Okay, so first, I don't make my frosting. Why? Because I don't want to. Because I'm busy. So, here. So we have to frost it first because we're going to stick marshmallows on it. It's like the world's cutest cake ever. Unless your dog licks off half of it, which my dog did one time when I made it. So I'm not going to, I want it like quick and dirty. And this is kind of actually how I do it. And then I switch plates so that I don't have any like frosting that's like on the plate and ugly. And then I try not to get my hair in it. But in the day, my hair is usually up. I'm going to beat that. I'm going to beat that baby. Okay, here we go. And then you have to have marshmallows. You guys are going to start, it's visual. You're going to start seeing it in a minute. You're like, that doesn't look like a sheep. Okay, I'm telling you, I know what I'm doing. I saw it on Pinterest. They didn't give you the directions, but I mean, I didn't really need directions to figure it out. Okay, here. Okay, then I'm going to turn it around this way. So then you have to stick them everywhere. All right, obviously, because this is its fleece. I'm serious, I am going to beat that thing. I'm going to eat that little lamb for dinner. It's going to be an oven. You guys, it's going to be an oven sheep. That's going to drive me nutters. So you just go around and hurry. Because I'm always like, so today, because I sometimes make white cakes, but today I made the chocolate one. And then I just finished doing the laundry and ironing the Airbnb sheets. And I had chocolate on my hands and then touched one of the sheets. And then had to rewash it. You guys are like, wow. I was so pissed off. I do that kind of stuff all the time. My favorite thing to do is to leave alfalfa in their bed when I'm making it, because it'll fall out of my hair or for my clothes. Okay, so you go around this entire, I'm not going to go around the entire thing because that's going to be really boring, but I'm going to do its head for you in the front, and then you're going to see why I'm saying it's super cute. Sometimes I put them sideways because I get tired of getting frosting all over my fingers. Okay, I swear, Sean, could you please get someone to fix that sheep? Because it irritates the hell out of me. I have to just see what I'm doing right here. You guys are like, it's not looking very cute. It will. You just wait. Oh, great. It's got the new baby doing it now. So you guys, next week I want to do it on the farm. If it's not windy, we'll go out on the farm. And I'll show you babies and stuff and shearing maybe. It just depends. It depends on, because today we could have done it, but it was super windy and it would have blown in the mic. Because we can be on the move with this camera. Okay, so then you have to have Tootsie Rolls, and they have to be warmed up just a little bit. I swear I'm gonna kill that little sheep, especially since it has its friend going too. The friend is significantly younger. That's the one that I pulled out of the mother. The one, not the one that's really loud right now. I told you that's your most irritating sound ever. I just have to get it around the back so that you guys don't. You get the idea. I know that you love seeing my hands. Okay, so I put the head I'm going to do now, and the head I put in my pocket because you have to warm it up, but I usually don't put it in my pocket. There was a piece of my hair there that was great. I usually put it in the microwave for like a second or two. Okay, it is warm enough. I was really worried it wasn't going to be warm enough. So you take these. And you stack them on top of each other. And then I try to mush them together. Feed them, thank you. Sean's feeding them. And I pull off right here for the ears. So here. So I make its head. And I try to make it have kind of a beveled nose. And I make its head kind of pointy because sheep heads are kind of pointy. And then I take this and I split this to make the ears. You don't want them to be too big, but you want them to be kind of long, right? And then you can make a little indentation right here. And then I try to make them fairly symmetrical. So there's one ear. See, I made a little indentation and a little point. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Okay. Make a little indentation. Make a little point. Let me see. Indentation, little point. Got to make sure one looks quite a bit bigger than the other one. But we don't care. Okay. Then you put its head right there. This one right there. Yeah, I'm going to put it right there. Take these off. Put it under its chin. I love that my hair is getting in it. Got to make sure his wool's all around him. Put the ears, they kind of flop down. You want them kind of flop down like that. Wow, that's one long ear. So if you make it too long, make it put it underneath. Put this one, move that. Okay, I'm not done. You're like, wow, it really looks ugly. Guys, give the girl a break. She's never done it live before. Hang on. Forget the blonde hair in there. Stuff that in there. I'm really appreciative that my husband did that because it was starting to get on my nerves. Man, they tell you, those lambs. That's why I have to put them in the barn too, because I can't stand to hear them at night and they'll wake me up before I'm ready to feed them. I'm not done. We have to put on its eyes. Okay, I'm gonna put this one. Okay, I'm getting its eyes right now. Okay, and then I make sure I don't have any like stuff on it, smudgy stuff on it. And then I take its little eyes and I get some glue, also known as frosting. I try not to get it on the eyeball black part, but I always do. And I like them kind of to be close together. So there's one eye. It looks a little weird right now. Just one eye. And obviously I would do the entire back part. Sometimes you gotta refix his head so that it's... That's kind of the general idea. And then you like swarm him all around like that. Super cute, huh? You're like, not really. Oh, you're like, where's the knitting part? Oh, here's the knitting part. Then you take your needle, because you have to make little nose holes. That's what it has to do with knitting. Right there. Bam. That's it. See? I try to show you things that are thrilling. I mean, this could make people like agriculture and sheep, right? Okay, I have to pan out a little bit. Let's see. You're like, oh my gosh, I actually moved it a little bit, probably too much. Look, I'm going to show you him up close and personal. You're like, well, you made me nervous. I got a little crazy, I'm sorry. Sean's really good with he's so good at his camera work because he's gotten used to doing it for all the classes. I think that's right, I don't know. I don't want to be so far away from you. You're like, what is in that thing? In this thing is my all of those postcards that I had made. Okay. I don't. Okay, let me see what you're saying. If anybody has any questions. Okie dokie. Let's see. Do you guys, my camera work makes you sick, huh? And I would go underneath and fix his little skirt all around him so you couldn't see any brown. Okay, so that's cool, huh? I thought it was good. I don't know. Let's see. It's super easy. That's, I know, but then you know how many, I mean, you get, like, people are so appreciative when they have a birthday and then you do that. Wait, I have to make sure, see if this is, if I put the camera right back in the right place. I don't think I did. I'm sorry, I have to pan out. You guys are like, all we're going to see is, wait, oh my God. Someone asked me if I could do a cow, and I was like, okay, I don't know how one would do a cow on that, you guys. How would one do a cow on that? I was like, I don't think so. Yeah, my frame is different than your frame. So let me see. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, and you guys, we're doing Fleeces Revealed too. We're starting Fleeces Revealed. We are doing a bunch of classes coming up. I think I said that, and I think we're doing the yarn one too. How did I get the cake to not be flat on the top? Wait, I have to lift it up again. God, you guys are like, my husband, he's a genius. He's so much better than I am. I don't know how. I don't know how. It just isn't. Oh, you know why? Because I'm being really dumb. You guys don't even. Oh my God. He's like, no, I don't know how. It just doesn't. I see what he does. I get it now because he makes sure that, I haven't been wearing, because I've been working a lot outside, so I haven't been wearing my, my boots, I mean my stilettos as much, and my feet actually, because I wear stilettos every day at some point, but because I mean, they actually start to hurt right now. Isn't that crazy? They usually don't. I know you can't. I'm sorry, you guys, you couldn't see my face because I was being dumb. No, it was just, no, okay, so this cake, I just have these little, what I do is I have those little, they're like Pyrex bowls that you buy like at, I don't know, Ralph's, right? And so then they're just Pyrex, and I pour them in these little Pyrex bowls, and I leave about that much, and then they mound. And actually what I do sometimes is I don't even take them out so that I don't have to do around the bottom. I leave them in and I just do the top. And so then it comes up over the thing and it's super cute. So I leave it in the bowl. Anyway, that's that, you guys. So you guys, so the sweater, oh my God. Do we have enough light? Okay. This is what I did last time too. I freaked out. So we're doing Fleeces Revealed and the Fleece and Fiber Master class. And then we're doing also the yarn dyeing class, I think is happening, I want to say in May. And we're doing also Dye Secrets. I have so much to, and I have to do stuff for the 501c3. You guys, we're doing a lot, and I really want to get on the road and start doing stuff for the charity. I really do. It's really important to me, and I want to bring more people into fiber arts. We need more people to love yarn and wool, and we really do. That's my thing, you guys. So I'm not going to hold you guys too long today because I already did a feed today, and I'm going to want to go see my husband, who you guys, I really never get to see him anymore. You guys are like, he keeps interfering with us, but I really want people to be involved in this stuff, and I want to see hashtags. Even if you've just cast on something, and I'm trying to think of, we'll do some sort of a, I think the knit along will do some sort of a giveaway. I'm not sure what one we should do. We should do like, if somebody posts all of their stuff and then we just pick. Do you guys have an idea of how we could choose? What would be? I don't like to do competition, like what's the best one. That's because that's unfair, because this is supposed to be simple. But if we do like people that complete the project, so all it would take is to have completed the project. And then we do like a random drawing. And let's say somebody gets a $50 via PayPal. That's what I think we should do, because then they can buy whatever they want. They can buy, well, not whatever they want, but they can buy whatever they want for $50. But I think that would be a good thing, because that would encourage people to try. And it's not based on whether or not you did it, it's like an outstanding artistic design. It just matters whether or not you completed it. I don't know. I think that's what I want to do. Could somebody remind me that I said this? I'm going to remind myself. And somebody else remind me too. I need more than one person. I probably won't be able to read my own handwriting if I write it down. But I'm going to write it down on this. And then I'm probably going to throw it away, because I'm going to go, why is there stupid writing on this? Who did that? I am going to do that. You do know that, right? $50. Okay, and it's a random drawing. Random drawing. And so every Tuesday we're not going to have like a feed, but I am going to try to get, I definitely we can bring up the ago. Maybe I can get her like in the middle of it. Okay, so I can't remember what the end date was for this, you guys. That's where my brain is at. I know it's on writing method, but I can't right off the bat remember what I think we have 6 or 8 weeks. We had six weeks. We had more than 6 weeks, because we had 6 weeks to do the hat, didn't we? Does anybody remember? Damn it. God, you guys, somebody help me, please. No, knitting, no. But you can do a simple sweater, remember, because you can do the blanket sweater, where you basically are knitting aren't you knitting someone just said this the other day. You're basically knitting 2 triangles and knitting them, or 2 squares, 2 rectangles. And then you're basically just you're stitching together for the sleeves, something like that, a blanket. Isn't that right? Didn't someone say that? Thank you so much, Christine. I can't remember what that is, but you can do that. Random generator draw. I think that's good. On completed projects. I like that too. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there are so many. Or you know what? In lieu of it. Okay. Here we go for the green knitters. Here we go. You can do a poncho. Because that's 2 rectangles, and then the way you put them together, do you know that? You do 2 rectangles. So 2 rectangles, and then you just seam those together. Super, super easy. And I actually had to be honest with you, don't laugh, but the first time someone told me to do that, I had trouble visualizing it. So I had to rip apart like this and say, okay, so if I make 2 of these, how is this going to be a poncho? I couldn't figure, I had to like do this and then bring it around. I'm not kidding you. This is how I had to figure it out, because I just could not visualize it. What part gets knit to, or what seamed to what. And then you'll be able to figure it out doing that. That's what I did. But it has to be pliable enough, so you maybe have to make it small, like long and small. So I'm trying to do this right now. Let me just see how to explain this. But what happens is one side, it's not the way when you knit it, so you could do stripes, but I wouldn't, because it goes like this. You end up like that when you seam them together. So because one side would be knit you know, your stitches are they're gonna be all knit the same, but the knit pattern is gonna be horizontal and the other one's gonna be vertical, the way it ends up. So if you had stripes, they would, I don't know if I'm not explaining myself very well. So let me just draw and show you what I'm talking about. It's going to look it's going to look like this. Sorry. See, one's going to end up going vertical and one's going to go horizontal. It's not going to line up, so you wouldn't do stripes. I mean, you could do stripes, they wouldn't line up. They wouldn't be like connecting. They would be perpendicular to each other. That's the way I should have said it. Okay. God, I just sometimes, you know what it is when I don't drink enough? Totally kidding. You guys, I actually don't drink that much. I know I joke about it all the time. Let's see. And then Allison says, she's doing this. Okay, you should do this. And then Allison saying she worked constantly on the hat and it took her a long time. I'd be like, if I get this, you will. No, I'm telling you, to me, a poncho is fair. A poncho is fair, especially because, I mean, if you don't have a lot of time or you don't have someone around to help if you've made a mistake on a sweater, I mean, that's a lot. There is not, Roni, my 12-year-old, could knit these two rectangles to make a poncho. And that was one of the first things, you guys, actually that's one of the first things I did with hand spun, because since hand spun can be heavy and bulky, you know, especially art yarn, it's a great thing to put into a poncho. And then you can do like I've always said, you do like 1 row of hand spun and 2 rows of commercial. 1 row of hand spun, 2 row of commercial. And if you do a solid color of commercial yarn with your hand spun art yarn, you almost can't tell, especially if you pick a color or you dye a color of yarn that is the majority color of your art yarn. You can't even tell that there's commercial yarn in there. You really can't. It's crazy. It's nuts. And it just looks, and then it makes it less bulky, because if you did an entire poncho with a hand spun yarn, it would just be art yarn. It would be super bulky and it would be icky. It just wouldn't be good. It'd weigh like, 8 pounds. It'd be stupid. Do I do any, is Cynthia asking? I need grant writing is what I need. And because also Pechanga, I've always said, especially for the 501c3, because especially I think Pechanga Casino gives away money to Native Americans, but it has to benefit Pechanga, which I live in the community. So I wanted to like teach them sustainable agriculture. You're like, wow, you're biting off a lot. No, but I could easily. I mean, I absolutely easily could. And especially American Indians, and I purposely didn't say Native Americans, by the way, they have a big problem with, diabetes and like in all of that. That was the first thing that really shocked me, because when I first came here, Pechanga was really tiny. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was tiny, and like 2 rooms. And I remember going in the bathroom and seeing like hypodermic needle things, and I didn't understand. And then I asked someone, and then they explained to me, because there's a high incidence of type 2 diabetes in the American Indian population. Of course, not at all remotely thinking that I possibly could be one too. Right? I'm like, I know. Us, we don't understand things like that, but we do, right? Because it's a chronic problem in our society anyway. Type 2 diabetes. Okay, let me see, and then we're gonna go, and then next week you're gonna come back, like how I'm telling you what to do. You're gonna come back because we're gonna go on the farm, and it's gonna be, I don't think we can start out here. I think we're gonna disconnect from everything, and this camera is very heavy. But if we could use this camera it's not the camera they used, it's the exact model camera that they used for the B-roll of Sheer Madness. But if that guy could do it, then Sean's gonna be able to do it. But he's gonna be tired afterwards because the camera's heavy. It's not like, this camera is a big camera. Flax is okay. So Karen Pachinsky is, do you like how I look? Like you're going to acknowledge that I said it correctly, or you're going to go like this, like incorrectly? I apologize. And there's a Flax Light is a great top. It's https://www.ravelry.com. and then it's patterns library. Oh my God. And I think just put flax light in and it should work. And then the Legger Redux, that's on, I think, Reading Method Group. And it looks pretty simple. And then she says it's something she'll wear without stripes. And they're amazing grants to help encourage the arts and heritage farming. Okay, I don't do any grant writing, but I want my husband, I actually asked him to try and do it. And I had someone else say, I don't know, grant writing is one of those things, but aren't there people that write grants and then they get a percentage of the grant money? I mean, that was in the end what I thought. But anybody who writes your grants, if it's not, and there's no way, like I already don't have enough time. I already don't have even close. And there were a couple things like I really want to go and spend some time and bring back the information from the Falklands, like the Falkland Islands and what they do over there with those. Talk about being able to take a sheep that shouldn't be able to live in an environment like that and make super fine wool. I mean, that kind of information are what the Peruvians need to make their wool better. And especially because the thing is that alpaca, in my opinion, needs wool. Not for everything. If you want drape, that's great. But if you want, elasticity and resilience, it needs wool. And you have to have wool that's as fine as your alpaca. Otherwise, you're not making your coarse wool finer. You're making your fine alpaca coarser. That's just the way it is. And the climate in Peru is not really conducive to having a super fine wool sheep, but the Falkland Islands their sheep are pretty darn fine, and they can live. They've mastered it. So I mean, they've crossbred them, and they're great sheep. I mean, they are. But what they do, there's more sheep over there than people, and they have a unique way of doing things, and that's the kind of stuff that it's really it's unusual. It's not well known. It's not well known, and it's to be able to share that with other cultures is pretty awesome to help people, because that's one thing. It's not like I can just pretty much guarantee you that the Peruvians and the Chinese aren't going to be like, you know what, wool sucks, and why don't we just use man-made fibers in lieu of like raising sheep? It's just like that. When you start, I don't like when I hear things about privilege, like I get mad because it just makes me angry, because everybody has their hardships, right? But what I will say, is that I'm not saying that we're privileged, because everybody, it's all relative. Like you could be a Rockefeller and have been tormented in your private school, and you carry the burden of, feeling unworthy, right? It doesn't matter. We all have pain. Nobody is, except for narcissists, they don't have quite as much as the rest of us, right? But, well, I don't know, actually narcissists do commit suicide, so it doesn't matter. Don't go on that tangent. But I really believe that if we can, it's not in an effort to try to make everybody the United States, but it's to make lives better for people, and just to make things easier on people, to make ththings easier, in countries that could have things easier, or like even my friend that's that is doing stuff in Africa, and he himself is not like I told this, I'm talking about the Muslims that buy my sheep, right? And I said to them, we have a bunch of furniture and things that do you want any of it that is in our garage and we don't want it, or do you have any friends that want it? And he's like, we don't have furniture. I actually looked at him and I said, nothing. Well, where do you sit? And he's like, on the floor. He's like 80 years old, 75, 78 years old, and he's not well. He's not healthy. He started giggling. He goes, on the floor. I said, on the floor. You don't have any chairs? He says, there's not one chair in our house. And then he looked over at his son, and his son looked at me. He said, yeah, there are no chairs in our houses. I was like, wow, it made me feel ignorant. I felt so ignorant. But his whole thing is that these people have no, where he was talking about, what is it? Was it Ghana? It was Ghana. He said, no, it was Ghana. Yeah, Ghana. He said they have sand. That's what they have. They have sand and like peanuts. I can't remember. He's like, they have nothing. So he wants to teach them how to, raise chickens. And I was like, oh, well, and then I'm teaching him how to raise chickens so he can teach them to raise chickens. Yeah. So, but as far as fiber, you just want to help these people be able to, sustain life and you know, have a better life, make life easier for them. And then and conversely, we can really utilize, you know, take some of this, the history that they have and things, because the people, all of their young people move out. They want out. So all of those, all the culture that they have that's embedded in fiber arts is gone. There will be no one. I mean, it will be a distant memory. It'll be a distant memory, because as you know, the young population wants out. There's nobody that wants to carry it on. There's a lot of that, even in the Philippines too. It's all over the world, all over these impoverished countries. Anyway, moving on. So I'm going to see you hopefully next week, and you're going to be here because we're going to go outside. And then next week I'm going to really try to get, I want to dye some yarn. And then if I dye some yarn, I will do a giveaway of the yarn that I dye for you. Okay, and I appreciate you guys so much. And if you can, don't forget Instagram, our progress, hashtag RM Sweater KAL, and hashtag Reading Method. And then also Facebook on our Reading Method group, and post your progress. And don't forget that we will be doing a $50 certificate for random drawing from the people that finish it, and you can do a poncho, which is just 2 rectangles instead of a sweater. And I love you guys so much, and you make me feel so good for showing up, and I appreciate you more than I can say. Have a great night, you guys. Super great night. Bye.